Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of The Arena, a show about real estate, mortgage, and the boots on the ground making it happen every day. Today, everyone's going to be really, really happy with this interview. I've been looking forward to it. This is someone that I've been trying to get back on for a long time now because she has so much going on. She is a real estate expert. She's a social media expert. She's been walking the walk, not just talking the talk. Parisha Smith, thank you so much for being on today.
Oh my gosh, thank you. And that's an awesome intro, by the way.
I'm trying to step up my game. Trying to step it up. But you are the owner of Smith & Co.
Yes.
You are with Keller Williams in
Yes.
Morristown, New Jersey. And you also have coaching by
Yes.
Smith & Co.
Yes.
So I love the branding.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just dive into it, Parisha. I think everyone, either they're looking to buy, sell, get into real estate, or they're in real estate, they're an agent. You're kind of there to help everybody. So tell me what's going on in your world right now.
Yeah. So recently I started coaching by Smith & Co. And primarily that was birthed out of just the necessity that I saw in the market where a lot of agents they wanted to do more content. They just didn't understand what their niche was, how to execute, things like that. And I just saw that there was just this hole in the market. And I was like, you know what? I do that all the time. I do it every day, in fact. So why not teach people how to do it? So that's where Coaching by Smith & Co. came about. So yeah.
So let's take a few steps back though, because you didn't just magically, come to this realization like, oh, I'm good at social media and, and I could do real estate and that at the same time. So you got into this business arguably at the craziest possible time.
Yeah.
It was like right at the end of 2019, right?
Right.
So 2019, and by the way, you had a history of marketing and, take everyone back a little bit further.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll start in like 2015, 2016, where I was busting my butt. I was working in radiology. I was working per diem. So I was making great money hourly, but sucky hours, working overnight. And I wanted to do something to supplement my income. My children were younger. So I started to daddle into social media. It was really starting to become a place where people started to do marketing and things like that. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. So let me just look and see how it goes. So I self-taught myself how to do it on my personal page. And then next thing I know, I got hired by a church to do theirs. And then I got hired by another one. They saw what I did on the other page. And then I got hired from a yoga studio. Then I got hired from a gym, and then so on and so forth. And so then I just realized I have this thing going on now. I'm this freelance social media manager, and it was awesome. However, it still wasn't doing what I needed to do financially. So then I got into, all right, well, I'll do real estate freelance. I'll just make a couple bucks and, show a house there, show
Side
a house
hustle.
there. Side hustle, right. So that was the mindset.
It's either that or Uber.
Right. Oh my gosh, I don't even think Uber was out then, right?
Very good
was
point.
It?
Yeah,
I don't
probably
even think
not.
Uber was out then. Or deliver some pizzas. How about that? But no, I was just in this mindset of freelance, side hustle. So I got into it. And then about 2 days into my classes in real estate, I was like, oh my God, I want to do this full time. This is my career. This is what I want to do. So I moved away from freelance, jumped in both feet into real estate. But easily went, like you just said, I got slammed because COVID hit. I got licensed January 9th, 2020. And I was rocking out like 3 or 4 open houses a week.
By slam, you mean tidal wave.
Yes.
Tidal wave. And
yes.
With the and restrictions and the craziest market we could have been in.
Exactly. So my open house strategy was murdered. It was, and now I didn't know what else to do. So I was like, I had to lean on what I knew, where I came from, what I was doing before, and that was social media. So I started implementing strategies that I had used on other businesses and other industries, and I applied it to real estate. And so people ask me so much, where do you get these ideas from? Why are we seeing your page be so much different than what we've been seeing? And primarily, I would say it's because I've done this numerous of times with different industries. So it just allowed me to have a different perspective on social media. So I'm really glad I had that experience and background.
Well, let's actually look at this, because if someone's looking to buy and they want to get serious, and they might be a year out, but they want to do the research. And this is what I hear so many people say, like, look, I want to move the next town over. I don't really know a lot about that town.
Yeah.
And they want to do the research, and the go-to would be Zillow, Realtor.com. They're going these free apps seemingly.
Right.
And they're looking but it doesn't, yeah, they could see what houses are for sale, but it doesn't tell them about the town, about the neighborhood. We were talking before about how before you got into real estate, how many times did you drive by a neighborhood you never knew existed? And so they're looking for people that are hyper local, that are really knowledgeable. Well, how else are you going to interview people like that? Social media, someone that's in and out of these towns posting educational stuff, seems to me that that's a perfect way to make that happen.
Yeah, I always say that your social media is your resume, because ideally, if you're looking to buy or sell a home, social media is a good way to get to know agents that are in the area. Number one, you get to know them a little bit personally, because you should be posting some things that are personal so people can get to know you. You get to know them in their lives and what they're up to, what they're selling, what neighborhoods they're in, and things like that. So it's an easy way to get to know an agent.
Jab, jab, right hook. Gary
That's
V.
it.
Shout out, Gary.
Yeah, right.
Share this, please. I tell the story all the time. I lived in the next town over.
Yeah.
And even though I've driven through the town I'm in now, Medford, New Jersey, I didn't even know certain neighbors existed. I ended up moving into one of them thinking, I got a great deal. Why is this house so cheap in this neighborhood? Makes no sense, but hey, it works for me. Turns out it just wasn't the best neighborhood.
Yeah.
Not knocking anything, but it wasn't for me. And not a neighborhood that I wanted to raise my family in, just me personally.
Right.
Now, if I would have done the research or followed someone like you, that was in and out of these neighborhoods and educating me, well, I would have had a little bit more to go off of, and maybe I would have made a different decision.
Oh, absolutely. And then what I love is following agents who have a community of people that can vet the neighborhoods themselves, because even for me, like I have clients that live in certain areas where they can speak to potential clients and say, hey, yeah, this area is really great. It's great for schools or XYZ, things that I can't necessarily say as an agent. These clients of mine can speak to it and say, hey, we live here currently. Parisha helped us buy last year, and this is our experience.
Yeah. So if you're a buyer just starting out, or seller, I should say, someone just interested in doing whatever in real estate, and they are in those beginning stages and want to just kind of test out what's out there, or just know the state of the union of real estate, what do you recommend as kind of the first possible step?
Oh my gosh. Find an agent who is on the same page as you, because not every agent is on that page. They want you to buy or sell immediately, right? But you are in the place of discovery, and you want to find someone who is not chomping at the bit, trying to get you to buy or sell, that someone is actually in the business to educate, someone that's in the business to strategize with you, and to give you all of the things that you need at that current moment. And you'll know it as soon as you talk to them. And what do we say? What do we call it in real estate? Commission breath?
Commission breath.
You could spell it a mile away. It's terrible.
My favorite phrase,
Yeah.
commission breath.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there's a big post that went viral recently, and it was 76% of agents don't sell a single home, and or close to it, and there's only about 2% of agents that do a considerable amount of business, which then I would argue they have the knowledge of the neighborhoods. Now, I would argue that personality wise, you want to fit, values you want to fit, and that's why social media is important. That is your online reputation and your resume. You were saying, I love that.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's pivot now. You are a real estate agent. You just got smacked upside the head by a tidal wave of business and craziness by COVID.
Yeah.
You took, everyone's like, so I've been doing this 30 years. It's like, well, do you really have 30 years experience, or have you been doing the same thing you did that first year 30 times?
Yes.
And
that's good.
Have you ever, oh yeah, Billy, we'll cut that in. Yeah. But I think that, having someone that grows constantly and knows how the market's changing and changing with it, and forecasting and pivoting. And so someone like you that got stuck into this crazy situation where once in 100-year scenario, your 5 years in dog years, in real estate years, have probably, it's probably 20.
Yeah.
And so it seems that you got to a certain point where you had it figured out, and then you pivoted. You were like, okay, well, the marketing part of that, the social media part of that, such a big part that plays into each other. Let me dive into that too.
Yeah.
So what are you doing now, focusing wise as far as social media goes? How are you developing your coaching program to help real estate agents?
Yeah, so right now what we're seeing in terms of trends on social media is that building community is huge. And it's more prevalent now than ever before because a lot of the platforms are switching over to that. They want people to be amongst like minds. So just showing other agents how to build that community and not just speaking to the masses, like starting off your videos with hey friends, because that means that you're talking to everybody and not to your specific person. So that's really what I'm teaching people is just how to get the people of like minds, not only just for the business, but also for you to love your business, because we tend to have more fun and love our businesses when we're working with people that we like.
That's right.
Right? So, and it exudes in who we are if we're enjoying what we do. And so I feel like if I'm attracting people just like the masses, anybody that will buy and sell, that does no justice to the people that are rallying behind me, that really want to work with me, because I'm miserable on the other side of the phone or whatever the case may be. I want to be pleasant all the time, like genuinely.
You want to work with your people.
I want to work with my people.
So that leads into the best topic we could talk about, and that is to Zillow or not to Zillow? Isn't that the question?
That is the question.
So I bring them up because of the big 600-pound gorilla in the room.
Yeah.
They were trying to take over real estate in the country. Okay. And look, I mean, you gotta give them props. I mean, they're a big company and they're making moves. They're trying to own everything, and from CRM to lead distribution. But in the end, Zillow is never going to have the local experience of an agent. And to your point, when you get a Zillow lead, can you choose what kind of person that is?
Oh, absolutely.
Can you choose if they're what town, neighborhood, are they investor, are they first time, fifth time buyer, age range? You can't choose anything. You just have to be, the master none, what is it?
Oh my gosh, now I can't think of it.
You have to
I get what
Jack of all trades, master of none.
Jack of all trades, master of none.
That's right. Jack of all buyers, master of none.
Yeah.
And I could see how that could drive you crazy.
Yeah.
So how do you take control of your destiny and your business? How do you combat the Zillows of the world that are enticing you, going, hey, buy my leads, or better yet, take these free leads, and then just pay me when it closes. Almost half of your commission.
Right.
So how do you combat that?
Well, number one, let's go back. I'm an independent contractor. I work for myself. Keller Williams, I work with Keller Williams. I work for myself. But when you start to, you're buying leads and you're relying on someone else to feed you constantly, and that's your biggest source of lead gen, you have no control of, like you just said, no control over what comes in. You lose that independence that you fought so hard to get. I was just at a conference for a Jeff Glover conference in Scottsdale, and one of the things that stood out to me is that you now become an employee when you do that. When you switch over, and now let's say 50+% of your business is coming from there, you're an employee.
Well, and to be fair, I know these programs, for example, and they want you to use their people. They want you to do their process. So you're really like a retail division of whoever,
right,
of who's supplying you the leads. Because he who holds the gold makes the rules.
That's right.
And in real estate, the leads, the new business, that's the gold. So how do you take control of your own destiny? Let's go through. We were talking pillars before. I love this concept. I use pie charts. You use pillars.
I do.
But if you're an agent, and really look, this goes to all businesses, right? But we're in real estate. But if you're mortgage, real estate, and you're watching this, explain to them, how do you start taking control of that destiny and developing your pillars? And what are the pillars?
Okay, yeah, I will. So I know a lot of people are going to roll their eyes, but I'm going to say you have to start with a business plan.
I was going to say, my 6.5-year-old daughter here, because
roll their eyes, business plan. And the reason why is because you want to develop your ideal client, AKA your avatar. Understanding who you're talking to, understanding their demographics, who they are. And I teach this in my coaching program where we get down to the nitty gritty. Who the heck are you talking to? And what is it they're looking for? And that helps you to build out your pillars, because you can't start with pillars that you don't even know who you're talking to. So then the next step is drawing out the pillars. Now, if you are looking, let's just build out a fake avatar. If you're looking for a female from the age of 30 to 35, she's on her second kid, married, looking to move up. And she's the primary person looking for, let's say, a new home. That's your avatar. right? So to speak. You don't want to then have one of your pillars be about 55 and older communities. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to have information about empty nesters. It doesn't make sense to be primarily heavy on relocation. That's not your avatar. So it makes zero sense. It has to speak to your avatar. So one of your pillars, most likely, if that avatar is yours, most likely then you probably match that avatar. So that means you're probably a mom, and you're probably female, and you're probably from the ages of 30 to 35, most likely. If that's the case, then your content should have something along the lines of motherhood, along the lines of things that 30, 35-year-old women go through. Hello, perimenopause.
Why is it? I've heard this word so many times lately.
Yes.
My wife's 30, in her mid 30s. So yeah, I've heard this.
Yeah, I'm in my late 30s, so hello.
Yeah.
So some of these things come up, and so that might be a pillar. It might be a pillar spaced out amongst other things. Obviously, there's real estate related, but some personal sprinkled in there. But that's how you build out your pillars, to make sure that every pillar covers that avatar, so that you are drawing in that avatar every single time. You're hitting on things in her personal life. You're hitting on things in her more professional life, because I even have down to my demographics of occupation. What do they do? Are they in the tech space? Are they in the entrepreneurial space? Where are they at? So a lot of my followers are in the entrepreneurial space. So I speak to them in that way. I'm like, hey, I'm a business owner. You're a business owner. Let's talk about it.
So I think the argument that I've heard about this is, look, I want everyone to work with me. I just want as much business as possible. And I feel like they try to go wide. Mm-hmm. They don't go narrow. Yeah. And they're trying to do content about the 55s. They're trying to do content with first-time buyers. They're trying to do veterans content. They're trying to do, and then it seems like they don't have a self-identity. They don't really know what they're all about. They're just kind of, hitting a bunch of stuff against the wall, hoping it sticks. So what do you say to them, that's someone that's scared of focusing just on more of a niche?
You'll never be able to create that community that you so desperately need, because that's how you create longevity in the business, is people that are rallying. When you throw an event, a client event, and 3 people show up, that's why. If you throw out a client event and your key 50 people, they all show up for you, you're doing a good job at your community, because these people like each other, most likely. They're not just coming for you. They're coming for the vibes. They're coming for they know who's going to be there. I had an event where everybody is so entrepreneurial. Everybody was exchanging business cards, because that's my niche. So they know when they come to an event of mine, most likely they're going to meet somebody that's a housekeeper, that's like a housekeeping business, or someone that has a catering business, someone that has an events business, and they all exchange information. So that's the vibe, So when you start to create that, but when you start to go wide, it makes it a little more difficult for your people to identify with each other.
Well, it's just like, followers on social. Mm-hmm. When you're a little too wide and people see you, and it's not targeting the same people again and again. We talked about the rule of 7.
Yeah.
Takes on average 7 times for people to take action with something.
Right.
And if they see you post 7 times about something that they're kind of into in different ways, you said it 7 different ways, mm-hmm. most likely they're going to follow you, and maybe they'll engage with you.
Absolutely.
I think the problem ends up being people see, they post something or they try something new, it doesn't work the first time, and they just abandon it.
Right.
So what would you say to those people? What's your advice on consistency and how to generate a following and engagement?
Right, and that's where we go back to the pillars. Stick to your pillars and have a plan based on those things. So if you have about 5 pillars and you're rotating them 5 days a week, you can't skip it. You stay consistent on those things. And so even if, on Monday you talk about money management, and whatever topic that is, you hit it, you're going to come back next Monday, you're going to hit money management again. Somebody that's following you for money management will continue to follow you. They probably won't even realize that you're doing it on Monday. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But it's every Monday, and they're like, dang, she's hitting it again. And then I would venture to say, doing 4 pieces of content on money management every week, and you rotate that every month. So then you might be talking about credit every first Monday. And people don't even realize it's over and over. And it might be repurposed content. It may not be something revolutionary. It might be the same thing you said last month. You just said it in different words.
And also, but people start to expect it, and it's just like any good show, like, Preston and Steve, right?
Yes.
Or whatever, or these talk shows, they have the same segments every time,
Yes.
the Bizarre Files or whatever it is, and people get to know that, oh, that's their thing, that's what they're known as. That helps with your branding.
Yeah.
I do love that. So I wanted to, in terms of the latest and greatest, I think everyone's, so busy with their own lives. Like, no one's a social media expert. It's tough. It really is. I mean, the algorithm is changing, and what worked this month all of a sudden doesn't work. TikTok, they're gone, now they're back. And even with me, I mean, we were talking before, I've had situations where I've posted content and I posted on one platform and it gets okay engagement. And then I post another platform, we were talking about one video, I had almost 2 million views on it.
Yeah.
So if I wouldn't have posted on that platform, if I just would have stuck to one, I would have never known that could have been possible.
Right.
So I wanted to talk because I've been so impressed by you. If you're not following Parisha, make sure you're on all of her socials, including Threads.
Yes.
And when Threads came out, I was like, oh, it's a knockoff of Twitter, but then Twitter became X. And, but it seems like it's really growing a following.
Yeah.
So let's just talk, spreading out your content and knowledge to the platforms. What's your strategy? And then specifically newer platforms like Threads, how did you build your following there?
Yeah, so it's important to test out your content. It's important to see, because just because it doesn't get that much engagement, that's okay. You treat that as research. Okay, this particular content did not work on Facebook, but maybe it'll work on Instagram, or maybe it'll work. So it's really good to find that out and try it. And I always have trials every month where I try something out on the platform. I try a different way of content. Some things work, some things fail, but you figure it out, right? So I definitely recommend that. So I spread out my content in a way where I just repurpose it. So obviously Threads is more so for the written content. They work based on keywords, and those keywords are super important. More important than hashtags. So remember, Instagram and Threads are one and the same pretty much. So they identify with each other. However, like I said, Threads is more caption heavy, and Instagram is more visual heavy. They also work on the keywords as well, but keywords is especially important in Threads. So the way that I developed my following there was keywords, making sure that my keywords match my avatar and match my pillars to make sure that it makes sense, what people are mostly interested in learning. And I built out a spreadsheet, hit the ones that made waves, and I just post them over and over again.
Yeah. That's awesome. And I've noticed that.
Yeah.
And then same thing, I went on there and I would post something, and then I would get a lot of engagement, post something out, nothing. And we're going, oh, okay. And by the way, it's okay to fail.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to hit a home run right off the bat.
No.
But I love that. I think what we're kind of figuring out is understand your identity, your niche,
yes.
who you're targeting.
Yes.
And then test that out.
Of course.
I would also argue that hiring someone like you could kind of lessen the learning curve there.
Yeah.
Whereas I think it could take maybe months, years for certain people to figure it all out and get a business going. The most successful people, and I have to say this to you, the most successful people that I know all have coaches.
Absolutely.
We have people that work at Maximus that are big, trainers and super in shape. They have trainers. The CEOs have coaches. You're never going to be a master of all,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So if social media really isn't your thing, but you want to get there, why not hire a coach?
Absolutely. And here's the thing, coaches have coaches. Like that's it. That's how we all should be. We should all be striving to become our best selves. And I feel like in social media coaching, we all have business coaches and things like that cover everything. I look at them as general practitioners. There are our primary physicians, right? But social media coach is really like a specialty, like the eye doctor or like ear, nose, and throat doctor. Like they're the specialty, and it's a very unique place to be, and it's very niche down. And so that's why for me, I'm like, if you're the type of person that one of your pillars in terms of lead generation is social media, then social media coaching, if you're like in the very beginning of it, or you're trying to ramp it up, that's where you want to add that little flavor in of getting someone to push you to the next level. Yeah.
And look, the reason we talk about social media so much is, a lot of it's free.
Yeah.
Most of it's free.
Yeah.
And, people could complain about the algorithm and all, but it's free.
Yeah.
You could complain about the ads, but hey, again, it's free. What other time in history can we get in front of potentially millions of people for free and advertise our businesses? That's why people were freaking out about TikTok disappearing. There are people that their entire existence, their livelihood was built on TikTok.
Right.
And so I think that if you're an independent contractor like a real estate agent, or really in anything, I think in sales, and I would argue just someone that wants a solid online reputation, you have to be engaging at a certain level in social media, because without it, how are they going to know who you are?
Right. Right.
They really don't anymore.
Yeah, and then that's where it comes in. You have to diversify, and it's not just social media. It's email marketing. We talked about that. It's building out a comprehensive CRM and a plan, and not just be one trick pony. So that's why I said social media is it's a tip of the iceberg. But once you zoom in on it, it's such a huge thing that complements the bigger goal of having a bigger, more comprehensive and joyful business.
So you're coaching agents, small businesses, people that are trying to up their game with social media. What's a cool way? We have something coming up right now. We're filming this end of January, so we have a big event coming up. What's your advice that you give to kind of up your game and see what the big players are doing?
Oh my gosh! Number one, take out your notepad and take notes of these social media commercials. I want you to write down what feeling they are trying to provoke, what they're selling and how they're doing it. Did they use cameos? What was it about this particular commercial? And also write if it was good or bad and why. And this is research for you, because these people spend millions of dollars on these commercials. Why aren't we not spending millions of dollars, but why aren't we using the same strategy in our small businesses, right? So it's a way for you to go back into the lab, look at your notes, look at what people did wrong, what they did right, and start to build out content around that.
So it's interesting you're saying that. I noticed that you have these big companies spend millions of dollars to develop these ideas, strategies, big marketing firms. They come out with like a huge football ad. That's like the Super Bowl of ads, right? And then all of a sudden that trickles down to influencers and social media, and then eventually trickles down to, just the layman, like the average social media user, like our agents and people that are just trying to get some engagement. So you're saying go right to that source.
Oh yeah,
that's genius.
Oh yeah, they're spending millions of dollars, and the most biggest brains in marketing are putting together these 20-second commercials. I think it's worth taking some notes. I think so.
I would say so. It kind of reminds me, don't judge me, Devil Wears Prada, right? Okay, yeah, I may have seen it. I don't know, TBS, I was sick.
Probably.
I couldn't change the channel, it just was on. So, but think about it, like they would say, like, that they would, on the runway, they have these big, I remember her explaining how these big ideas, these fashion trends, and then how it kind of eventually trickles down to like TJ Maxx.
Right.
And you get it for nothing.
Yeah.
So it's like, same kind of thing. Go right to the runway.
Yes.
Go right to when they come out with ideas.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love that.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to just kind of finish up here by asking you to get out your crystal ball, because people that are watching this, look, they're concerned. Mortgage rates have not come down the way we thought, which eventually I think they will. But real estate, they're always concerned of one thing, and that is, are they going to lose money in their homes? If they leave their houses, this is the vein right now that I feel like everyone is has a pain point where they have a house that is sub 3% on the interest rate. They look at another house, they go, I know that house is going to be more expensive, and on top of that, the interest rate's probably going to be more than double what I have now. I'm afraid I'm going to get burned. I'm sitting on equity now, and that's great. I'm going to make money here, but I'm afraid that I'm going to get burned in the future if I buy this house for, they think, too much money maybe, and they think the values are going to come down or the markets are going to crash. So what do you say to people that come to you with some of those concerns?
First of all, they're valid, because I never want to invalidate someone's feelings and the way that they think about things, because I understand, and I understand where they're coming from. But here's the thing. You hire a professional that understands money, that understands the market, that are highly, highly in the know of what's going on and have resources and what I like to call an agent that has an entourage. Because agents, we don't just do it ourselves. We have vendors, we have partners, and it's important that we partner with those people to make sure that we're giving out the right information. To partner with them, to make sure you have a comprehensive plan. That's not just for, oh, we're going to do it today. Quick. But let's strategize around the market. What are we projecting? What are we seeing? When can you actually do this kind of move and when does it make sense? So that when we tell you it's go time, you're ready to pack your bags. And it's go time meaning that you're not going to lose money. You're not going to lose anything like that. That obviously we can't guarantee that. We don't know what's going to happen. But we know how to protect you at all costs. And that's our job. Our job is to protect you from probability, right? And so that's what you want to do. And that's in any market. I don't care if it's flaming hot. I don't care if it's lukewarm. You want to make sure that you're able to strategize, because even in the most robust and fire hot market, you can lose money working with an agent who stinks.
We see that, in your app, by the way, which is excellent. You have a whole price reduce section.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people are trusting maybe the wrong agent who doesn't know how to price out their house.
Right.
And now it sits.
Right.
And they're thinking, how's it sitting? This is such a hot market. Oh, the market must be changing. Oh, it's got to be the market. No, maybe you have the wrong team around you, the wrong entourage.
The wrong entourage.
And they didn't educate you enough on what are houses going for, where to price it, why price it there.
Right.
So very interesting. So basically, you're educating everyone and you're hedging the risk. There's risk in everything you do.
Absolutely.
But at least when you have the data, you have the knowledge, and you're prepared, chance favors the prepared mind, right?
Absolutely. And that's why it's important to actually have a sit down before you're ready. Because some people think, oh, if I'm ready to sell my home in August, I better call up an agent in June. No, you better not. No, you better not.
What's the problem? You got at least a couple months.
Right.
Like that, right?
No. Sometimes it could take a year for preparation, especially if you're in a situation where, like you just shared, there's a situation where we're looking at money. We're trying to manage, we're trying to balance all of these things. And it might be a timing thing. It might be a timing, not just the market, but we're timing your finances. You might have a job promotion that might be coming up. Maybe we wait for that. We might have, some changes that could be made. There might be a plan to refinance and then change, and then maybe we're going to do this in 3 years. I don't know, but you get what I'm trying to say. The point is that there's a plan for everything, and if you don't plan, you plan to fail.
I love that. And just to end things, I had a great story where we had a buyer. They went to, I don't want to name names, but it rhymed with Schmocket, Schmortgage. And Schmocket told them that kid said it with a straight face, but told them, hey, listen, your current rate is this, your payment's this, your new payment's going to be this. And it was a lot. It was I think $1,500 more a month for their new mortgage. Now it was a bigger house. It was more expensive, of course, but the rate also was higher. And so they were like, no way. And so they just please talk to my local lender and just go. Well, it turns out they were going to make like $250,000 from selling their house. And their idea was, I'm going to put it all into the new house. And even with putting a ton of money down, the mortgage was still higher. Taxes are higher, things like that. But they also had a ton of debt. And for them, they were just slowly chipping away at the debt. But it was going to take them. I mean, we figured out it was going to take upwards of 15 years to pay off that debt. And that's with them being very strict and regular with their payments. So by paying off the debt, putting a little less money down, paying off the debt, now that guess how much that debt was? $2,100 a month.
Wow.
So $1,500 was the new payment, more, but we paid off $2,100 a month in debt. So actually, when all said and done, they have $600 extra in their bank account every month by moving.
Wow.
And they never in a million years, they were like, oh my God, we didn't even think about doing that.
Yeah.
Schmocket didn't tell us that.
No. And that's what I love about what you're saying, because this is where real estate gets fun. Because we're human, flesh and blood, that we sit in front of you and we listen to everything that you got going on. We look at the full landscape of your financial background, and we look at everything, and we're able to manipulate to make it work for you. And I love that you did that, because that makes so much more sense, because you look at the debt, if you're able to bring that down, because here's the thing, debt is debt. Now you're looking at it as the full on. You're looking at the mortgage, your house payment, all that kind of stuff, everything you're going to car payments. You're looking at everything, not just the one thing, but everything. And some other places, they might just look at the one.
Yeah.
Right? So I love that.
Well, Parisha, this has been such a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for coming on. If anybody wants to get a hold of you, follow you, give it all. Where are they going?
Yeah, so they're going to go to Parisha Smith on Instagram. That's where you can find me personally. You can go to Coaching by Smith & Co. to find out more about my coaching. And then, of course, Homes by Smith & Co. All of this is on Instagram to find out more about home sales and things like that.
And, follow her. Make sure you like her first.
Yes.
You can stalk her from a distance.
Yes,
which
most of you do.
It's the darker side of social media, but still, unfortunately, it's there.
It's there.
I wish I had more stalkers, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I don't. But hey, thanks so much for coming on. And until next time, guys, navigate this market, fight it as best you can. If you need anything, of course, you can reach out to me and I can put you in touch with Parisha as well. Thanks so much. Until next time.